So from the beginning, when I got the farm, I wanted the farm to be organic.
Why?
It's just the right thing to do.
Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and joining me for this series on the podcast, which is just blowing my mind already, is Ana Vizcaino from Two Birds Coffee from Guatemala. And we are talking about the problems that producers have to solve. And we talked about money, we talked about labor, and today we're going to talk about certifications. And I have to tell you, from our first two conversations, our first two episodes, I'm really kicking myself that you haven't been on the podcast earlier. And I'm glad that we're starting these conversations now. I believe, and my mother really needs credit here. My mother always has said to me, everything happens in the time that it needs to happen. And I feel a lot of that what you're talking about, the industry is finally ready to hear. We're at a point where the next couple of years economically are going to be incredibly challenging. And people feel very empowered right now to do things. And so I think, and I hope, and the reason I say this is that I hope that the industry is ready to receive the problems that you have actually worked on solving. And you were telling me before we started recording this episode, you were like, I just want people not to make the same mistakes that we made.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the goal.
I love that, and I'm really, really glad that we're doing this for the first time, and I'm excited about the many other times that I'm going to drag you back onto the podcast to talk about a lot more of this stuff. So in this episode, we're going to talk about certifications. So why don't we start by you helping people understand who don't understand the concept of certifications? Let's talk about what certifications are for producers.
For us, my experience was we use the certifications to open a market and to make us that people saw. It's hard to start this business, right? The way that we are. But when you're certified, you can say that, and it has a weight. So
it starts a conversation.
You are organic. Your farm is organic. It starts the conversation of selling your coffee, right?
Right. Friends, World of Coffee Dubai is back in 2024, and I am proud to announce that the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward will be the official podcast partner for World of Coffee Dubai for the second year in a row. The Roasters Village will be a one-of-a-kind destination for all things coffee. As an exhibitor, introduce your artisanal roasts to an international audience and gain valuable insights from their perspective. Visitors, immerse yourself in the celebratory coffee culture experience by sampling exclusive cups poured with passion from cafes worldwide and absorb insights that will elevate your own appreciation of all things coffee. Whether you brew coffee or just love savoring a fine cup, this event gathers the global coffee community under one roof in an amazing city. Join us at World of Coffee Dubai in 2024 at Dubai World Trade Center from the 21st until the 23rd of January. Tickets are available at dubai.worldofcoffee.org, or you can contact us on social media for any questions that you might have at mapitforward.coffee. Get your tickets now, folks. Come see the podcast being recorded live, and we hope to see you in January in Dubai for World of Coffee.
So from the beginning, when I got the farm, I wanted the farm to be organic.
Why?
It's just the right thing to do.
I'm not surprised by that answer at all.
There's no everything else sounds wrong.
Yep.
And I am not an expert, and I am not a biologist or agronomist or any. It just doesn't make sense what they were doing, what they do, when without that responsibility. I understand that sometimes you cannot not have a chemical in the farm,
right?
But you have to do the best that you can to not use it. You have to try everything else before you start using chemicals. And I'm not against chemicals or chemical fertilizers or any of that, but there has to be a responsibility in using them. It's not there's always a consequence of using chemicals. So I started doing that, and I didn't have a certification. And when we started the business with Diego, I said, let's be certified and use that as a selling point. I'm already organic, but I don't have the certification. So people don't believe, right? Well, when you have a paper, they believe. And so we started doing that. I got the organic certification in 2015, and I kept it until 2022. So this is my first year that I'm not certified organic. It's just because of money.
It's too expensive. I don't know how. I mean, it's wildly expensive to get certified organic.
Expensive. Yeah, it's very expensive for such a little farm.
Yep.
You know, if it was the $5,000 would go into a bigger farm, then it's diluting the money. You know, like, okay, I can do this. But for such a small farm, $5,000 is probably your profit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we're in interesting economic times. Inflation, currency conversions are doing a whole bunch of stuff. We really need to do a series on this podcast with what's going on with the economy. And we will, folks, soon, I promise. But in these times, with the sea market doing what it's doing, with currencies doing what they're doing, with the global economy doing what it's doing, $5,000 for a piece of paper, and for you to be able to put a stamp on a bag, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it?
It's just, I was very lucky because all my clients, all Two Birds clients, have been to the farm,
right?
Or at least the ones that started with me. You know, they come to the farm, and they come almost every year except for pandemia time. You know, the pandemic just that stopped, but they come, and now we don't even talk coffee.
I love that.
They sometimes they come, and I'm like, well, we didn't. But Diego says, how many bags do they want? And I'm like, I don't know. We didn't talk about it. They just come and enjoy the farm.
I'm coming to the farm next year, I promise.
You should. You are totally invited.
Thank you very much.
One of which is probably my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is that they come to the farm and they see how it is, and they fall in love with Guatemala. They fall in love with everything.
With you guys. Yeah, like I can tell you now, it's you guys. And I'm sure Guatemala's beautiful, but I can totally understand why they fall in love with you guys.
Sometimes we cry when we say goodbye. Come on. You know, so now it's really like something like that, you know.
It's family.
Yeah. So I host at the farm because I really want people to see it, just not to believe, because I have a paper that says certified organic or best. We were also bird friendly, which is a certification that I really, really like, because they are very tough at the farm. They come to the farm, and you have to have what they want. It's a way for people to think about it, you know, to think, oh, I do this, you know, not just cut all the trees. We can have shade.
Yep.
And in this way, you know, it doesn't affect the coffee. It doesn't affect anything if you do it the right way. And so I really like that certification, but I had to drop it because you cannot have bird friendly if you're not organic.
Wow. And now we're starting to get to the heart of what the problem is with regards to certifications. Right.
I cannot just say, I'm going to pay for the Smithsonian bird friendly if I don't pay for the organic one. And I also I had a certification that is not very known. It's called Con Manos de Mujer.
What does that mean?
With women's hands, like it was made with women's hands. So it's CMM, I think, Con Manos de Mujer. Sí, CMM. And I lost it also. That was something that I can afford, but because I lost the first two, I lost this one also.
Wow.
Yeah.
What? But hold on. Why does a woman's certification that it's made with women's hands depend on organic?
I don't know. The truth of the matter is that when I dropped the organic certification, I didn't get feedback from them. Like I didn't have they didn't call, they never call me to say why are you doing this? We can help you or work with you or
Wow.
something. So I am so little for them that they never called me. They never said we can work with you. We can work out something.
I
Let's
think they
negotiate.
I think they have called you in a passive aggressive way by making sure that you don't get the other certifications.
Yeah, it's I feel like, yeah, why no, it's very hard for me to understand the certifications. But it does work to start with. It worked. I mean, we used it. There's
But now
another
you have
part.
such a great relationship with your customers that it's irrelevant.
Yes.
I mean, you have you have a finite amount of coffee. You have 2 containers about a year to sell. You have customers for that coffee. You move that coffee, and you've built up the business enough where your integrity is very clear. People don't need a stamp on a bag for you. Yeah, that's awesome.
They know, they know that they can come to the farm anytime, any day, that I will like show them.
Awesome.
They know. And there's another thing about certifications that I don't like. How come I get the certification as a farmer, as coffee certified organic, but let's say that one of my customers buy it and they are not certified. They cannot put in the label, they cannot use my coffee as a certified coffee. They cannot use the label of organic
because they're not certified.
They're not certified.
It's a racket, isn't it? It just feels like it's a whole charade.
It's not fair. It's not fair to me.
It's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the consumer.
Exactly. Because you don't get the stamp of organic in their roasted coffee. So why are you going to pay more for organic if you cannot use it?
So for these certifications in the West, you have to, as the producer, constantly keep up with all of these certifications just to be able to sell coffee that if the coffee roaster doesn't become part of it, your efforts are useless anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just fucking ridiculous.
That doesn't make sense. At least to say it doesn't make sense that they cannot use my stamp.
No, it doesn't make sense at all.
It's already done, right? It's already. What are they gonna do? Because the roaster is not the machine is gonna be roasted. It's not certified organic.
Right. So for those who don't know what happens in an organic roastery, if you want organic certification, there is meticulous detail that goes into determining or defining any place that's certified organic. The scoops that you use for the green coffee, for the non-organic coffee, have to be completely separate than the scoops that you use, and they have to be identified as different for the ones for the organic ones. There's lines that have to be drawn on the ground that show the sections where the organic green coffee is stored, where the roasted organic coffee is going to be kept, the containers, everything has to be measured differently. So if a scoop from the non-organic side of things touches the organic coffee, it's now no longer considered organic.
That's how it is.
Which means that the producer who spent all this money on certifications, it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's irrelevant unless you have one or two clients that are going to buy your coffee every single year at the right price, because they need the certification, right? And okay, fine, let's do it, but it has to go into the price for them. You're going to pay for me to be organic, to be certified. I can do the organic part.
You're already doing the organic part. The certification is the only difference. And if your customers are not organic certified as well,
What's the point?
What's the point?
Yeah, there's no point. Because there's also the logistics are very, they're
challenging.
not challenging and sometimes impossible. Because
fumigation.
Yeah, for example, your coffee is organic and it goes into a bag of a burlap bag.
Yep.
That's not organic.
Right.
And it goes into a truck to the port.
That's not organic.
And it goes into a ship that is not organic. So what's the difference that the roaster is organic or not? If my coffee is already going in a warehouse that is not organic, for example.
Yeah, it seems like there's a whole bunch of people that are collecting a whole bunch of money for no reason other than collecting a whole bunch of money.
And I'm telling you, I'm not against certifications. I am against the logistics of the certification. I think they should be more, not lenient, but more open.
Oh, and it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense that, I mean, I get it. They want to make sure that if the roaster is going to sell organic coffee, that they are doing the same things to make sure that it's organic. But the roaster's not contributing any pesticides or chemicals to the product.
Wow.
So they should be at least allowed to be able to say, this is organic grown coffee.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to be so careful of what you say in your labels because they can get you. They can go after you. And how are you going to prove, for example, you can say, okay, I've been at the farm, so I know, right? Well, how do you prove that on a label?
And it's America. Folks, I'll tell you, America is savage when it comes to lawsuits. Yeah. Savage. And you have the right to sue for any reason over there. So it's really, really hard as a business owner. I can tell you this from personal experience. It's really, really hard to operate a business in the US when you're worried about being sued. And two birds, you sell most of your coffee, other than to bloody Yusuf in Saudi Arabia, but you sell most of your, shout out again to Yusuf. But you sell most of it into the US, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to adhere to that.
For Yusuf, yeah, we sell only the US. Yeah, and some of my coffee goes to Canada.
Okay. Which is a little more lenient, right?
A little, I don't know. There's one client. We only have one person that started with me in 2016, I think, and he's a small roaster but he's so inspirational to me. This guy.
But do you want to give the company a shout out?
We should. No,
yeah.
I don't know if I haven't asked him. So
okay, no problem.
But he maybe next time. Next time.
No problem.
He's an expert in water management.
Oh wow!
And so that's how the conversation started, and so he bought I think 1 bag or 2 bags at the beginning, and now he's buying like 4 or 5 a year.
Wow!
But the relationship is incredible. Our relationship is beyond coffee.
Yeah.
You know, we will go to the events, and the first person that calls me is like, where are you going to be? Where's your Airbnb this year? Or
wow.
Are you going to be? At some point, we actually use the same Airbnb as they did.
Yeah, wow. I love it. Speaking about water management, you set us up perfectly because, folks, prepare yourself. What we're about to talk about in the next episode will both blow your mind and crush your soul all at the same time when we're talking about water. There's some really, really challenging things. We're going to talk about the obstacles to solving problems related to conservation. And wow, did I learn some things about water in Guatemala in researching this. So join us for the next episode. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.